Welcome to the Developing Dads podcast, episode number 78. I'm still shocked every time I say the numbers going up and up and up, and I was writing this in the notes this evening. I can't believe we're on episode number 78. But it's good, it's cool. We're here on a lovely Thursday evening. I'm just about to crack open a beer that I've got from Aldi, which is a nice 6-state New England white IPA. Never heard of white IPA before, apart from the second time, this one, but it's delicious. It's a nice 5.7 beer. So, cheers, Gordon.
Unbelievable, Neil. I think you are probably about to secure a spot on BBC 2 at 9 p.m. to review beers with that eloquent and very descriptive taste test.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks very much.
And I've also leveled up my my podcast game because I finally managed to sync my iPhone 14 with my Mac, so like you can use it as a camera, which is great. So I can be ages away from the laptop, and I can have the camera set up in a nice angle. So yeah,
I think there is something here though, Neil. We need to work on like the angle, because at the moment you've got about 14 feet above your head, so it's not. It's a little off, but you know you're trying. It's the best thing.
I'm trying. Thanks. I mean, I could probably. Oh, if you're on YouTube, you're seeing my whole living room.
I'm really glad that we've started the podcast and Neil's now actually trying to adjust his camera at the same time, and no one in the actual pod world who's listening to this cares. But sure,
there we go. Is that a bit better?
It is. To be fair, the quality is pretty nice actually. It's way better than the little crappy webcam thing you were recording on, which is great. Anyway, Neil, sorry I interrupted your very lovely introduction. Carry on.
So we're here to chat about the best things about being a dad, which I enjoyed making that list actually, and it kind of makes you think about the kind of fuzzy feelings you get and the happiness you get and the love towards the kids, and yeah, why I think we did a podcast. I don't know if we've done a podcast on happiness towards the kids and what's the best bits about being a dad, but we've definitely done like the worst bits, I think, or the challenging bits. It's one of the episodes, so it's nice to have a positive vibe. Anyway, like we always do on these podcasts, we always start within the first 10-15 minutes on how you doing? How's your week been, Gordon? And give me some highlights and give me a low light.
A low light? Oh God, Neil. A low light. A low light, just kind of a bit busy. It's not a low light, but it's kind of a low light. Like busy as in like there's lots of things going on. Yesterday I had 5 meetings. Today I've had 3 or 4 meetings. And they're all relatively intensive. Like I said in the last pod, I started another podcast, and I've managed to record 5 episodes of that already in 2 weeks. So I'm hoping to get about 10 or 11 episodes done by the end of the month, which means 3 months worth of content, right? So I can chill out for a little bit and at least kind of see how it's received. That's the main thing. And it's quite intense interviewing someone because you're concentrating quite hard on making sure that you get the right question, and you're listening to what they're saying and then adapting what you've written down to ask his questions and whatever else. So it's good though, and I think I'm overly glad that we did this because it's meant that not really in public I could iron out all of the kinks and the stuff that it makes podcasting quite difficult, which is just making sure it sounds good and all that kind of stuff and whatnot, so I can go straight out the bat and know exactly what I want it to be, what I want it to sound like. So yeah, I'm quite excited about the project. But low light is just because I've just been packed like back to back doing stuff, and it is what it is. You own your own business, like you gotta work, right, and do the thing. And it's all kind of been crammed a little bit because we had Laura organize a really fun trip with myself, Olivia, Laura, and then another couple friend of ours who's a little son called Henry. And we went off to a place called Chessington World of Adventures. And we went there.
Wow.
We stayed overnight. They've got a hotel and they've got a safari room and all sorts of bits and pieces. And it was just a really nice, wholesome thing to go and do. We hung out together and the kids played and we went to bed, obviously ridiculously early, and we just sat in one of the rooms and drank beer and watched the baby monitor and just chatted and did things. And then we hung out all day, went on some rides and tested Olivia's resilience to wanting to actually go on any rides, or whether they were scary or not scary, or, there's kind of a bit of that. But it was just lovely. It was really good. And I felt particularly grateful that my life that I've designed, because I have made this choice, like we all have, We all have. There's large parts of our lives that we choose. We choose the careers that we want to go down. We choose the work ethic that we apply to it. And ultimately, I've chosen a life that allows me to be very flexible. Hey, do you want to take a Monday and Tuesday off? Yeah, sure. How long do you want me to take off? And the best part of this week, the absolute high, is just the absolute satisfaction of me letting go of the reins, passing on large parts of the work that I used to do onto members of my team that I've vetted, trained, nurtured, pay, look after, do all those kind of things, and just hand off a bunch of projects, and I'm off doing what I'm doing, and
family time,
work is being delivered. That just blows my mind. And I know it's ridiculous after 10 or 12 years of having my own business, but it takes a level of confidence to say that you can just hand things over, and I've got that now, and I friggin' love it. It's just, it's incredible, and it's easily the most excited I've been about building something in 10 years.
Nice.
I've had a bunch of fun things. This is really, really cool, and I can really see a long-term sustainable growth trajectory really with this. So gotta keep working on that. I've also been building confidence, particularly this week, in the whole mentorship thing that I just thought was absolute wank to begin with. But then actually there's a lot of people that are 10 years behind me in terms of the things that I've done and the things I've seen and the way that I've operated, that I can definitely pass on the failures and the successes and help accelerate their growth and give them more confidence. And I've had 2 to 3 people signing up each month to this mentorship thing. It's now surpassed my goal, because I looked at my goals actually, and one of the goals was to have 8 people on my Greenhorn Creative Mentorship for the year, and I've already passed that.
Nice. That's that one to celebrate.
Yeah, that's a good one. And what else? Just summer's out and it's good, enjoying life.
Nice.
Kind of it, really.
Yeah, it's amazing what the weather does.
Yeah, it is one of those things when I get fuck you money and then I can move to South Beach, California, or no, South Beach, Florida, or move to California. That's
6 months of the year.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Eh? Anyway, how are you, Neil? Are you as sprightly as I am, or what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Pretty good. This week, I'm trying to think. I kind of put a low light on you, but I'm trying to think of a low light for me. I can't really think of one. It's been pretty, there's been no kind of low points, although I've deleted them if there has been.
Just stuck them out your mind.
Yeah, Isla had a really bad fall, and her leg's a mess in terms of scratched everywhere and bruises and stuff. That's a bit of a low light, just seeing your daughter hurt, and yeah, not nice. But in terms of an update from me, it's been a pretty standard week. Isla was in Skye with my in-laws for a wee while, which was nice. So she came back on Tuesday from her adventures, and we had a P1 visit because the boys are now going to P1, which is mad. So if you're a new listener, which you're probably not, but if you are, then we've got I've got twin boys which are just about to start primary school, and it's year 1, I think, equivalent in England. But yeah, P1, so we got to see the classroom, meet the teacher, and it's just mad. In 8-9 weeks' time, they're going to be going, all 3 of them are going to school, and yeah, it's just odd. So yeah, that was a big highlight actually, just seeing their next stage of life, the next chapter. Nice. Started running. I took a few weeks off running when we got the dog. I don't know if I announced that to the podcast, maybe I did. But the dog's now 5-6 weeks into our life, and we finally got into a routine. So it's kind of navigating when he needs walked, when I go for a run, yada yada yada. So I've been on 4 or 5 runs since we last spoke, which is nice.
I tried to go to the gym today, and it failed miserably because there's a local gym that's 5 minutes away from me. Equipment's not amazing, and it's not a great gym, but it's a 5-minute walk. That's the benefit. But it's just one of these casual gyms where if they're not there, you don't get in. So
wow.
For God's sake. So that's annoying. So I think I'm just going to sign up to the Pure Gym that's nearby. You can drive there. I've looked on Google Maps, and it tells you when it's busy and not busy. So I'm going to try and get that in regularly, because I'm starting to like time block my calendar more regularly. And I started tracking my calories. I'm on MyFitnessPal again, so 2 days in a row I've tracked my calories. I'm already starving, and
2 days.
I'm really I'm already upset that if the scales aren't 5 kilos down, then what was the point?
Yeah,
I'm like my old clients, you know.
I definitely go through stages of MyFitnessPal. It's easy Monday to Thursday, but from Friday onwards,
it's easy all the time, Neil. It's just the Newton's first law of momentum. An object at rest remains at rest. An object in motion remains in motion unless acted upon. So it's just a case of you just have to keep doing something, right? Doing it, and that's just the game. So if I get past this first week, I reckon I can keep it going probably for a little while. And the target is maybe 5 kilos off, because I weighed in at about 89 kilos, which is kind of the higher end of where I want to be. And my body just feels a bit stodgy and a bit kind of like meh, because I've just been eating, it's not shit, but it's not vegetables and it's not salad. And, I had an entire weekend of lots of food, because it was like barbecues. It was Laura's, my father-in-law's birthday, and then, it was cake, and then on the Monday we had burgers, and then we had pizza, and, it's just not. I just want to feel a little bit. I want to feel a bit more healthy, or back to what I was, I guess. So that's the journey. That's what I'm doing.
That's fair. Yeah, I've definitely put on a few pounds. I mean, I did it the first 3 months of the year. I lost a lot of weight, but now I'm slowly gaining it. So maybe I need to take a letter out of your book. But anyway,
it's just too easy, isn't it? It's just too easy.
With the barbecue season, as you say, like, I just love a barbecue. You need a beer with a barbecue, or it's not a barbecue. And yeah,
it is. It's just too easy. But yeah. So Neil's sitting at home, sort of he's sitting here salivating, waiting to get stuck into his best things about being a dad, and it's right. Like, there are lots of things that you could turn around and say aren't great about being a dad. You lose huge amounts of your own autonomy. You don't sleep a huge amount. You spend more money than you've ever spent on anything you've ever owned, pretty much, because kids are just friggin' expensive. You don't know what to do half the time. You have no idea why they're screaming. You have absolutely no idea what that rash is on them. You're just trying to figure it out.
Why have they got a temperature? Who knows?
Yeah, why have they got a temperature? There's also like weird stuff happens to you where you feel judged by some other parents, or even, to be fair, some women in society you feel judged by, boo-hoo me, the patriarch. But at the same time, there is, it's so nice to see a dad with their daughter. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's fucking great. Anyway, but there are undeniably things which we'll go through that just make dad life fucking amazing. Like, it's the best.
Yeah, I'd agree. And it's like you can't describe it to somebody that's not a dad. And I can't remember who said this, but I think it might have been Ryan Holiday. In fact, it was Ryan Holiday that said that you don't actually grow up and or you're never fully fulfilled unless you've got a family. And there's probably a lot of people that disagree with that, but I think I agree with that, because
But what else do you do, Neil? Like, let's think about it. You know, if you've got all this money in the thing, like, sure, you can go to a bunch of nice hotels, you can go to nice restaurants, you can go to buy a nice car, you can go and buy a boat if you want to, you can fly first class, you can see all these different kind of countries, like, there's tons. But I reckon after like 10 or 20 years of doing that, you've kind of seen most of it.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen a lot of it. And it's like, well, what else do you do? Buy a dog? But then it's not the same, is it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really believe in. I really understand what they're saying there. There is a level of fulfillment that you get from becoming a dad.
In my kind of extended circle, not that close to me, but they're in their kind of 50s, maybe late 40s, 50s, and they don't have a partner, they don't have kids, but they're almost on the. And there's a few people I know in this kind of state, either old colleagues or whatever, that they're lonely, and they go home every day after work. They might have lots of cash in the bank, or might have their nice car because they're only feeding one person around that table. But yeah, I don't think they feel very fulfilled, and I don't think they feel very happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's it's a again, I go back to that point of designing your life to some extent. Like, there's lots of choices that you're making here, so I can't say that someone would be happier. Like, some people ask me, what do you think? What's it like becoming a dad, or would you recommend it? Like, sometimes I've been asked those types of questions, and it's hard to say yes. Even though we're about to go basically through all of the stuff that makes it unbelievable, it is quite hard to say yes. Or I definitely find myself, kind of slightly pausing or not actually saying yes, I would recommend it, flat out, because it isn't easy and it's not for everyone. And, there's lots of factors that need to be, or I feel like need to be at play to feel like a successful father, and also to feel like a successful husband and a partner. If you don't have like a solid relationship, or a pretty damn solid relationship with your other significant other, then it makes child rearing really hard.
Yeah, I think we did that on a podcast, actually. I think we had one that was like, when should you have kids? I think we delved into that.
Yeah, we probably did. So I don't know. Even though we're about to talk about all this amazing stuff about having parents, I still would turn around to people and say, I can't say yes to recommending being a parent. It's really up to you. It's your choice. The only thing I can say is, if you're even in the 50.1% boat of, I think I might want a kid, you should have a kid.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, anyway, so my first one is, a new kind of love. So you may have obviously married a wife or loved a partner or something. You love your parents, loved an animal, but it's just not the same. Like, having your child, and the feeling I get when my kids run up to me after I've been at work or been traveling with work and come home. And just that feeling I get when all three of them are kind of around my legs or trying to hug me. And it's just, you can't express it in words, I don't think, but just the feeling you get is amazing. And it's not something I've ever felt before until I had kids. So I think there's definitely something there in terms of that new kind of love. I don't know if you felt that. Do you?
Yeah. Resonate? There's a level of happiness that I never knew existed. And I don't know if I've said it. I've never said it. I think I've probably said it on the podcast. But it's more, there's a lot of stuff I've done in my life I've been lucky to be able to have done. And I genuinely at some points felt like, how do you be happier than this? I've built a pretty damn good business that's earned me more money than I'd ever thought I could ever earn, to allowing me traveling the world, to meeting Laura, to getting married, to buying a couple of houses, to renovating one, to doing all sorts of bits and pieces. Like, genuinely things that I don't know how you top it. Like, how do you get any better than that? And then Olivia came along, and I'm like, this is nuts. Like, how have I done all this? Felt such a level of happiness that I didn't think I couldn't get happier. To then she comes along. And even today, when I pick her up from nursery, she comes running over and she's shouting "Daddy" like multiple times. Like, that's you. It's like it's like you've just taken a massive dagger and just stuck it right into my soul, and just I'm like, oh my god, that's just incredible. And I catch myself. I'm not crying, like openly crying in front of anyone, but inside I'm a mix of just absolute happiness. Like, it's just sorry, I'm going on about too much, but it's just hard to explain, to be honest.
I mean, I still get that with Isla. So she's now been in school almost 4 years, and every time I watch her run through the front door of the school, it just, or come out of the school, I'm just like, I don't know, it really tugs my heartstings. It's like, wow,
it's the ultimate.
That's my daughter.
Yeah, it's the ultimate to me. It's really the ultimate, and it's just, I think that's one part that if anyone does ask me, do I recommend having kids? I'm like, oh, I can't really recommend it. But the way I feel around my daughter and playing with her and then seeing her and the way she reacts to me, you won't get that from anything else. Like, there's nothing gets it. And I don't know if you have. Do you think that girls hit different to boys?
So I've had the chat with Rebecca, actually, and I don't know if it's a first child thing or if it's a boy versus girl thing. So I feel like I've got a closer bond to Isla than the boys, but is that because she's been around longer. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Or she's a daddy girl. Like, yeah, I don't know what it is. But I definitely feel a closer bond to Isla than the boys. My bond with the boys is very strong, but there's definitely something additional there with Isla.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious how it develops, and then if we have another wee one, I'm curious about how that then develops as well between all of us. But yeah, hands down, like a level of happiness that it's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
and I kind of like to go back to the Ryan Holiday thing about the idea of fulfillment. I don't know if it was him as well that said it, but it's like you don't become an adult until you've had kids.
that's it. Yeah, he said that as well. Yeah.
You just don't. I just don't think you do. And why don't you? Because you I think you become an adult when you have kids because like there's something there you would literally jump in front of a bus for them.
Yeah.
Like you do everything in your absolute power to protect them. And there's not many things in your life that ever do that to you. Like I'd do it for Laura. Did I do it for anybody else? Maybe do it for you.
I love that caveat.
Yeah.
I know what you mean though. You've got a lot more responsibility, and I don't know. It just matures you so much faster.
Yeah. Because you know, in my weird kind of thing, like I would still keep drinking, but now I'm like.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow's going to be a better day if I don't have this extra beer.
Yeah.
You know, or I'd like even other things like it's such an amazing clarity of what's important. And I think there's an adult in that somewhere, isn't there? When you have a real clarity of like this is where I need to be and when I need to be there. Or if I'm doing something else, then and it's not with my kid and my wife, then what am I doing?
Yeah.
Whereas when you're not an adult, I guess, or a young adult, you live life much more serendipitous. It's not even a word, but you live it in much more of a kind of, you know, just go with the flow and kind of see what happens, and you know it's much easier to waste time because there's so much of it ahead of you and. There's nothing else that needs your attention really apart from your own interests and your own self and maybe some of your friends and maybe your partner.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more of a pool than having your kids at home sat there waiting for you. You know, I think there's just, you just don't become an adult until you've had kids. Because I've actually hung around with people that are in their late 40s and 50s that don't have children. And it's really interesting to see the behaviors.
They're different. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's a different kind of, it's 2:00 in the morning. Let's keep drinking. No, I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
You know, or just a sense of like preparedness or organizedness or you know any kind of thing along that. Because if you forget something, you know, you've probably gone out the house. If you forget something when you've gone out the house with the kids, it's usually something that's going to cause a bit of a disaster at some point if you're not careful. You know, like you've gotten a snack or a nappy or whatever else. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've even managed people on both sides, managed people that have got kids and managed kind of mature as in 40, 50-year-olds that don't have kids. And there's just, it's a different thing. Like there's almost a different level of discipline as well at work when, like if you've got kids, there's a discipline there of like, right, I start work now, I'm doing work, I'm going to be productive. But then when people don't have kids, they just like have long lives or late or they feel sick. I'll wait till you have kids and feel sick. It just, I think.
Yeah, you've got to get over that kind of stuff really quick, right? And I have that with work now. I'm still in the kind of, I still have a little bit of a teenagery thing about me where I don't want to do something, or I'd rather just scroll Instagram or have a nap. But then I'm like, but then I've got to pick up Olivia up today at 5. So I've got to get all this work done before 5. I can't just like wait. And then I've at least got maybe 2.5 hours where I've got to kind of just entertain her, bath her, get her ready for bed. And then after that, I've got to make myself dinner, and that's another half an hour. And it's not until like 8:30, 9 o'clock before I could probably get back to some emails or doing some bits and pieces. Whereas when I didn't have Olivia, I had just infinite time. And I don't have that anymore. It's just not, it doesn't exist. So I have to be disciplined, and I have to be like, I've got to get this done.
Yeah. Cool. So my next one is you've seen them grow up. So it's similar to kind of seeing them going to school and stuff. But seeing them get cleverer, seeing them more in have deeper conversations with, like, Isla's now getting into quite deep conversations and stuff, which I really enjoy. Seeing their feelings expand and they're kind of they're just navigating different things. So Isla's got a sports day tomorrow, so just before bed we were chatting about how she's feeling about it, and she's slightly nervous for people watching her running and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's just like, yeah, she's turning into a proper little lady, and like she's kind of not worried about her kind of style or look, but there's definitely in the back of her head she's getting more kind of self-conscious that's coming through. And yeah, it scares me slightly, but also makes me very happy that they're growing up and they're becoming a bit more mature.
Yeah, the you never, and no other part of your life do you ever watch a small child grow between, like, a human being grow in front of your eyes.
Yeah,
like you could have, like, I've seen your kids grow up, or my nieces and nephews grow up, but it's not the same as actually watching your own one sort of develop and grow and age, and then ultimately, because, like, you can cocoon her and we can protect her in our house and she can just do her thing and roll around or whatever. It's even more interesting, kind of nudging her into the real world and her engaging with people and other adults and how she gets on with them. And, you know, it is amazing. And it's also amazing because, you know, I think this is kind of way that your genes have morphed you into the psychology of you think that their behavior is a reflection of your parenting. So if they're really good, you're like, I'm the best parent ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if they're bad, you're like, what have I done wrong? How did I not see that? Why have they decided to punch a child in the face? Well, I didn't teach them that.
I've never done that before.
Yeah. So there's that kind of stuff as well. And even also, like, the discipline around with, and again, this is not necessarily, not every parent has to do it this way, but the discipline that I think we've had as a couple and all the work that's gone into it, certainly in Laura's side, but the kind of the sleep routine that we've had, the very much the bath routine that we've had, you know, and working together very much on that. And now she's, you know, she'll go and sleep pretty much anywhere. She sleeps really well overall. She's just great. And I think, yeah, a large part of that is just, again, being just super grateful that she's that type of baby or toddler now. And I can't wait to watch her doing other things and interacting with the world, and just helping her solve her problems, I think, is something that I actually quite enjoy, you know, because you can be the adult, you can foresee some of the issues that come along and bestow some of your probably inaccurate, misogynistic, patriarchal ideas on certain things.
Yeah. And just like, it makes me proud, whether, I don't know that other kids do this, but Isla is very open with her feelings, and she seems to share how she's feeling without even me prompting it. So before we went to bed tonight, she said, "Oh, I'm a bit worried about sports day." I hadn't even asked her about it. So that makes me proud, and that makes me kind of happy that she feels in a safe space and she can speak to me about these things. So hopefully it continues. Like I might be saying, when she's 16 years old, she's a riot, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's kind of the teenager stuff,
which is a whole different ballgame.
You back, Neil? I think we paused there for a minute.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, your video's going very funky.
Oh dear, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, but it's kind of a bit weird.
Okay, well, we'll carry on.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it is, like, there's that kind of, there's a bit of trepidation with the whole teenager thing that's coming up, and how do we deal with all that? But I don't know. I feel quite excited about it. I think you just got to take it as it is, take it on the chin, and then see what happens, and we'll figure it out somehow, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Responsibility was like one of yours. You know, we talked about that a little bit. I quite like the unconditional nature of it all. You know, like, the best bit about a dog is that a dog will love you no matter what, right? Even all your frailties, you could be the biggest dick in the world, and your dog will love you. Right? It'll want fed, but it'll very much love you. And certainly Olivia at her age, she laughs unconditionally. Like, there's no smoke screen, there's no trying to fit in, trying to do anything. It's literally, I find you hilarious, and I'm going to absolutely cackle my head off. And
Yeah.
when she does that, you know deep down that's what it is. And when someone makes you feel like that, it's incredible. Like that unconditionalness. Like she doesn't expect anything from me necessarily. Or not that I think she does. But she just laughs because it's funny. Not trying to please anyone or, hide anything from themselves or anything at all. It's literally, and, when she hugs you, it's a hug.
Yeah. There's no fakery towards it.
No, there's no kind of adult aspect of it, right? There's no kind of mature human aspect of it where we are programmed to some extent to try and get along, right? We're societal. We are individuals who seek other individuals. We are trying to we have tribe mentalities. And maybe she's doing it subconsciously, and that's kind of part of our evolution. But at the same time, it's like it just feels so good that there's no thought process behind it beyond just loving or laughing or caring or any of those kind of things. And I think I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah,
and
I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I quite also like. I've talked about this, not necessarily on the podcast, but with other people, the idea of having a board of unconditional mentors. Do you have a bunch of people in your life that will tell you straight, tell you exactly what needs to potentially be done, that have your best interests at heart, but don't expect anything back?
Yeah.
And I think they're some of the best people to have. And I think being a dad, it's also made me realize that I am one of those for Olivia. I have no conditions on the advice that I give Olivia beyond her happiness.
Yeah.
And that feels pretty good.
Yeah. No, I can resonate with that. And even so, Isla to this day, although she's getting older and older, she still, I feel, has that unconditional sense of around her, and she's not scared to just be a kid, which is nice and wholesome.
Yeah, it's good. And I think that's obviously a place where she doesn't, she can still be who she wants to be and tell you how she feels, which is nice. And hopefully she continues doing that. Yeah. But I'm sure there'll be points where she'll hide something, I'm sure, at some stage.
I know. One thing that and it's kind of, some people might take it for granted, but most days I am grateful for it in terms of we try and eat as a family together. We're now at a nice time of like 6 o'clock for dinner time. Before it was like 4:30, but the kids are in a good age and stuff. So we eat about 6 o'clock, but having everyone around the table, and we try and do this, I'd say 4 or 5 times out of the week. So we don't nail it every time because Isla's got brownies, swimming and stuff. So, but yeah, as a family, we eat our dinner together and talk about our days. And like we normally say, like, oh, what's been the best bit? What's been a sad bit? And go around the table. And that, like, I don't know, that kind of sense of this is my unit, this is my family, this is my tribe, just fills me with happiness and fills me with just such gratefulness that I've created all those and I'm supporting them. And yeah, it comes back to that kind of sense of achievement, sense of responsibility, all in one place, like around the dinner table, eating the food that I've prepared. It just, it bigs me up a lot.
So it's something today, I don't know if it's Suicide Awareness Day or something, or week or month or whatever else. There's something about males, and you treat male depression with the idea of feeling powerful and feeling capable. And when you get that sense of feeling with the kids all around the table and you preparing the food and doing all those kind of things, there's lots of feelings of power and being capable in that sense, right? And I think
environment.
I think raising children kind of gives you quite a strong sense of that. Like you're a capable man of doing a thing where everyone sat around being happy, and yeah, it does feel good. It feels good when Laura's mum and dad comes down. We sit around the table. Olivia's there. We've made a roast. She's having some of this stuff. I'm having this. We're all eating together. There is a real sense of like inner pride and happiness, and you being, strong and powerful and capable of being able to apply all that, right, and do it. And it's a really nice thing. And having a kid there just, exaggerates it even more because, she's pretty helpless if I don't feed her or change her or put her clothes on and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, and it probably dates back to like caveman days where, I mean, this is getting kind of gender specific, but when the man used to go out and do the hunting and the gathering and take it back, and yeah, I bet you that caveman, I don't know, 2,000 years ago, felt pride and felt good.
Yeah, it does, because it's like, I've said it before, and this is kind of, first of all, the utility of a man is not necessarily his ability to provide in the sense of the physical realm. You know, there is the emotional and happiness and caring and all that kind of stuff as well, which we should take into consideration. But there's just something deep-rooted, I think, in my mind, certainly, when I'm able to do that, right? I'm able to cook for everyone, and everyone's sat around the table enjoying a really good dinner. I feel strong, and I feel capable, and I feel useful. I think it's one of the things, one of the large parts of that. To be honest, those are all my happiest parts of being a dad.
I mean, the episode doesn't have to be any longer than it needs to be, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed reflecting on, because I mean, you can get stuck in the day to day, and you get stuck in like the shit parts of being a dad and the mundane stuff and the bath times and.
Yeah, there is one part that has started to creep in, and it's more because Olivia's getting older, I guess, like she's pushing nearly 2 in August, is that I actually like watching her do it herself.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting part of it. It's like when she climbs the stairs on her own. Obviously, I'm behind her, making sure she doesn't hurt herself. But when she climbs the stairs on her own, when she, gets her little trike bike thing out herself, when she entertains herself, even like when she plays on her own, when she like goes and gets certain things, like she went and got, I said, can you go and get Daddy's white trainers? And off she went, and she grabbed one of the white trainers and grabbed the other white trainer. Like, that feels really good. Like, that's kind of like a part of her development. And it just, I guess it feels nice because she's not suffering with any ailments or difficulties, that she's capable of that general communication at this point. But also that she's just developing that sense of freedom and independence, which comes with some level of intellect and also some strength and physicality that comes with it. It's really, really, really nice to watch. And again, makes me feel like I'm somewhat successful as a parent, I guess.
You're on the right track.
Selfish thing. Probably a selfish thing more than it is for Olivia, I guess.
Maybe that's good, though. Maybe that's an episode in a few years' time. Or a few months' time. Yeah, what does a successful parent look like? Because I battle with that sometimes, especially with Isla in school. And this is a bit of a rant, but school enjoy posting on their public Instagram and public Facebook page, like the high achievers, and they're like, Gordon's face on YouTube if you're watching. That annoys me because I'm like, they're just, I don't know what the word is.
What's described as a high achiever?
So it could be like numeracy, it could be English and reading, it could be we're getting respect badges. There's like lots of different things, but yeah, they seem to just like highlight these individuals and have their names and a picture of them holding up some kind of certificate or something every week. I'm like, that stresses me out a little bit because Isla's not got one of them, but there's 700 people in the school, and there's only like.
I was head boy at school, and no one gives a shit.
I know, but it comes down to like, am I a successful parent if my kid's not on that Facebook page?
For me, even if my kid is on that Facebook page, then there's no guarantee that they're actually going to get a job and hold it down. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I think that is for another episode. But yeah, I don't really know what is a successful parent. That because it's not like you're really responsible for things like their happiness.
Yeah.
Like you're responsible to make sure that there's a breeding ground for happiness, where they're clean, they're clothed, they're fed, they're slept well.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's really like happiness is down to the individual, not necessarily someone else or something else. So I was kind of going down the route where maybe if you're a good parent, you make your kid happy, but then even then you can't really control that. So it's like, well,
like, what's the definition? What's the recipe of a good parent?
I don't know. Just
caring, empathetic.
Don't know. I'll have to chat GPT it, I think.
Get researchers on it.
Our researchers. Yeah, because we're making tons of money from this podcast. I can tell you right now, it's costing me way more than it's making me. Like in 2 years, I've probably spent over $1,000 on this podcast, at least.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, we'll end it there. Thanks for listening. If you've made it to this far, you can reach us on Instagram at Developing Dads. Give us a wee 5-star review if you do on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other random platform you listen to. It's been a good one. A few laughs and just nice reminiscing and thinking about what's it like to be a dad and the happy parts of being a dad. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
All right. See you later.